Ladies and gentlemen, can you believe it? It's the second show. Yes, they actually let us have a second show. And I've got some more amazing people. Some familiar faces from the first show, but I've got someone new. He's good, yeah? I like him. I like him a lot. Because this is the 6 of 1 football show on FTV Sports. If I can find my mouse so I can click that. Oh, no. We've got having problems, people. We're having problems.
I was just about to start clapping on it.
Yeah, no, it was going all right up until this point. Okay. No intro music, unfortunately, since I've lost my mouse. But we're live. So, welcome to the show, James Keeble. Sorry about no intro music there. I do apologise. Technical difficulties. Tell us something a bit about yourself, James.
Evening, everybody. Cheers, Bob. Thanks for the invite. Great to be here. Yeah, I'm a Norwich fan, as you can see, through and through. Old man's from Norfolk, so raised a Norwich fan, and very proud to be a Norwich fan at the moment. Despite being bottom of the league, I'm very happy with the state of our club. So
there it is. There it is. I mean, you don't find many Norwich fans these days, but we got one, and he's on the 6 of 1 football show, so that's what we're all about. Welcome back, Michael Reed. How you doing today, mate?
Very good. All the better for seeing you.
Enjoying life?
Yes. Cracking day.
You had some good stats for us last time. You're going to be pulling out some more stats today.
Got a few lined up.
Excellent. And then on to Sweary McMary, Linton Nightingale.
Apologies.
Who's the rebel without a cause. How are you doing today, Linton?
I'm better than last week. My cold's gone, so fighting fit. And I'm probably better than, I'm quite glad we're doing it this week after, the North London derby. We promised we're not going to mention it, so all good.
Well, I think we should talk about the North London derby just quickly. We never really got a real chance to talk about that properly. So how did you feel after that day? Because you were quite chipper on the last episode, but it's clear to say it didn't go very well with you that day.
Before we get into that, can I ask Linton?
Oh, here we go.
No, I was going to ask to remind us of what your prediction was for the game.
Might be able to remind me. I can't remember.
I think you said a 2-1 win.
I think 2-1, yeah.
Spurs, yeah.
It went to pieces, didn't it? It wasn't a very good weekend. It was my birthday that weekend. I was ill all weekend, in bed on my birthday. The golf went badly. The fight went badly.
Yeah.
And then Sunday was
Tottenham's ground.
Fucking disaster. And that's how my weekend went. And then, that just topped it all off. I wasn't, let's say I wasn't particularly happy. I wasn't a nice person to be around Sunday evening, but, I think I got over it by about Thursday, Friday. So let's just end it. We were diabolical. And I'm actually thinking about I'm still pissed off, but let's go. Let's continue. What's up first, Bob?
You're still pissed off? That makes me
No, not. Just when I think about it, it annoys me. But, we didn't... I don't know. We didn't turn up, did we?
Did you watch Monday Night Football analysis of it? I doubt you did. Did you see it?
I didn't.
I
watched anything, to be honest. I watched little snippets by the time. I probably actually over this weekend I watched little bits of it, and I was just, Jesus.
It was just frightening how much room you gave us in midfield. It's quite.
What did I say beforehand? Like before the game, I was saying I cannot believe he hasn't put Skippy in there and he's just playing Højbjerg on his own. It was the most insane decision, and I think that Nuno is to blame for it. I think that he got completely set up wrong. And then there's none of our players performed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
there was an amazing
game, Bob.
I was at the game, yes.
How was the atmosphere? Was it? I know you were talking last week about what your best.
It's like they won the league, wasn't it? Afterwards, I saw.
Derby. Was that the best?
It was electric. It was one of the best. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was pinching myself. I just couldn't believe it when we went 3-0 up. Obviously, I was pretty happy.
3-0 at half time, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was all kind of put your feet up, see the second half. It was chill, man. Like, it was chill. It was good. We were singing. There was a few new songs going about. It was revolutionary. I was very happy.
Revolutionary. Wow.
Okay, all right. We'll move on to the next question. I don't know how, but there's no. For some reason, I've lost my mouse cursor on my screen, so I'm just going to have to wing it here. So the first topic for discussion is about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I was watching that Fever Pitch program, and it's funny. You know, they talked about Arsenal for a little bit, and then went all on Man United, which the whole program seems to be about. And then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes on, scores the winner. They win the Champions League. What a legend! What a great player. But obviously, the sandcastle's a bit crumbling at the moment, and the question is, Ollie out of his depth? Is he out of his depth? Is he good enough for Man United with the team that he's got? We'll start with you first, Jim. What do you think? Is Ollie out of his depth?
I personally think, yeah. I mean, if you look at the team he's got and the squad he's got, especially now after their pretty damn good transfer activity in the summer, I think you'd have to. I think if you asked most United fans, even with the squad they've got, do they have any expectation of significant glory this year? And when I say significant glory, I mean the title of a Champions League. And I think the answer from most respectable United fans to that question would be no. They haven't got much hope of winning either of those competitions. So I think, given the answer to that question and the squad they've got, you have to say, for Manchester United, a team of Manchester United's calibre and expectation, that he is out of his depth and he's not good enough for them. I do respect the fact that they do seem to be giving him time, and I think managers need time and people need time in life to do what they're trying to achieve. But I think it does come across a little bit that he is out of his depth, and I think the signings are good. So he's making progress on the squad, but they don't really look much better. I mean, they started the season off on fire. That first game of the season, they looked brilliant, and you thought, actually, this could be a big season for United.
That's what I thought. But that first game, I was thinking, well, Man United are going to do this. They're going to do this.
Pogba looked on fire, didn't he? He was pulling the strings. I mean, Greenwood started off the season fantastic, and they've got a cracking player there. He is a great player. And they've got a lot of great players, but I'm just not convinced that Ollie is the manager to bring them all together and to give them enough strategy to get through those games that you need to churn out if you are to succeed as a manager and win a title, which is what Manchester United should be aiming for, with a club of that size and a squad of that depth.
Do you know any Man United fans personally, and have you heard any of their opinions on the...
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't know Manchester United fans? Everyone knows United fans.
Particularly living in the south of England.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I like the United fans that we have. I like the United fans that we have on our gutter WhatsApp group, because you get two completely different ends of the spectrum. You get Dave Warwork, who's like, I really respect Dave's kind of patience and the way he does stick up for Ollie. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Jed, who just loses his shit after like a 10-minute bad spell in a game.
I do enjoy a Jed meltdown, that's for sure. That's one of my most enjoyable things. Just so you know, guys, a lot of people who are going to be coming on the show are from a WhatsApp group we call Gutter Talk, because we were in a very nice group and we all started giving our opinions on things, and it got a bit nasty. So Linton on the show today created Gutter Talk. He's the creator of Gutter.
I did create Gutter.
So let's go to you. But create a monster, and now they've got their own show. I mean, what's going on? So from the creator of Gutter, and just so you know, technologically, I've sorted it out. I found a mouse, and it's in, and we are back on the game. Love that. What do you think Ollie is out of his depth, Linton?
I think I kind of agree with Jim in some ways, but I think it's early doors. Sort of like 2 points off top. I think that their performances haven't been great at home over the last couple of weeks, but I still think that you've got Varane, I think is going to be good. He's going to be a great signing for them. They've had Maguire, who's been out.
He hasn't started that well, though, has he, Varane?
They haven't really been conceding a lot of goals, but I just think they haven't been playing particularly well. But they've got Ronaldo, Sancho. It's going to take a bit of time to get used to the English game. I think he's going to be a phenomenal signing for them.
But why should Why should he take time? So that's another
But
point.
he hasn't.
I want
This
to
is
know.
it. He hasn't played. I think the pace of English football compared to the German league, there's a lot of history there. Loads of players come from the German league and take a bit of time to adapt. So I think you've seen that with a couple of the Chelsea players, although Werner, I'm not convinced anyway. But I think Havertz is a class bit. And he did. He took a little bit of time to get in. But I think that I don't know. I think judge Ollie by Christmas, and if I think that.
How long? When did Ollie come in?
He came in before Mourinho, didn't he? So he's been there 2 years now, two and a half years.
Yeah, at least 2 years.
Well over 2.
Yeah. 2.5 years, right? And now they have given him a stupid amount of money. He has had so much money, so there's no excuses. I think that if they are, let's say, I don't know, 6-9 points adrift to City, Liverpool, Christmas time, I think he's gone. And obviously they have to qualify for the Champions League group. I think he's got a couple of months to prove himself. But saying that, I still think that those signings need a bit of time to bed in. They've got class all over the field, and I've had a few defensive injuries. I sound like bloody Dave Warworth, don't I? Fucking
don't forget the referee's decisions that have gone against them.
No, I just think it's early doors. But if I was a United fan, I mean, I don't know if it was anybody else. Other than Solskjaer, has got that history and that connection with the club. It'd have been gone last season, if you ask me. But he's there. He spent the money. They're going to have to back him. Is he out of his depth? Probably. He's learning on the job as well.
But he's had plenty of time.
As a United manager,
he's had plenty of time to learn, though. Would you say not? He's had enough time.
Yeah, I think also that argument is, should United have a manager that should be learning on the job, is another question, which I don't particularly agree. I find it crazy. I think Chelsea had that with Lampard. They didn't fuck about. They're like, you're gone, mate. You're not good enough. Even though it was Lampard, he's a complete legend. Yeah, I think it was head and heart, all of that. But they were like
when they were talking about Vieira for the Arsenal job. It's just like, why they're not ready for it just because they're club legends. It's like when we gave the job to Brian Gunn. That didn't last long or go well.
Never heard of him. I've never heard of him.
Never heard of Brian Gunn?
You must have done.
No.
Goalkeeper legend.
Was he not? What was his record? What was his record?
He was there for bloody over a decade, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't watch Championship. Sorry. So. All right, Michael. I'm hearing Gareth Southgate might be coming in. I'm hearing Conte. Is it close? Is he out of his depth and he's close to losing his job, or is that just newspaper talk?
I think James and Linton have made some very valid points. I think the one I want to pick up on is Linton's thing about the kind of maybe their heart over their heads a bit with him. And I think the situation is a bit similar to what we have at Arsenal with Arteta, in that, he's a bit of a club legend. The club want to show that they are willing to be patient, invest in the process, and back them to a point. I think the thing that I've seen with United this season, similar to last season, is how I don't feel they kind of have a style of football, but going to watching them in so many games, expecting them to dominate and to be the United that we used to know, and I feel like they've got players that should be doing that, and so many games, particularly this season, they just look on the edge, and they are kind of reliant on this random individual brilliance. And I have a bit of a standing joke, as you know, around Bruno Fernandes, who I admit is a great player, but in so many games, I watch him and he kind of goes missing. And I feel like, and we saw it in the Villarreal game the other day, and also the Everton game, that it does feel like Ole just doesn't seem to know the way to approach games. It's just, I'm just really surprised with that. They've got the most expensive in terms of wages, the best paid players now in the Premier League. And I know they can talk about Arsenal's transfer fees as an example, but the amount of money they're putting out each week on some of these players that are sitting on the bench, their squad is now ridiculous. And I think they should be showing that they are making improvements. And they are up there, as you say, and they're only a few points off the top. But when you look at the performances, I think that City have put in, Liverpool, even Chelsea, United just look way off that. And I just don't expect them to. I think the gap will just drift. I think they will still potentially get top 4 because I think the teams beneath them are dropping too many points. But I don't understand what the vision is with Ole, and I feel like a lot of United fans think that as well. But they have the loyalty element there where they want to back him because he is a club legend. He won the Champions League. He did so much for them. I think if it was, anyone but a United legend in that position, no one would want to be giving him the time that it's been given. And the way they've started off in the Champions League, 2 dreadful performances. Very fortunate to have any points on the board, to be honest. And that says how far he's got to go. When you're looking at the names he's brought in this summer, probably one of the hottest talents in the world, one of the greatest footballers ever in the world, and one of the best defenders in the game. It's just there's no marked improvement yet. They may need time, but I feel like time is against him. And I agree with Linton. I think if the gap's too wide coming up to the turn of the year, I can't see how they can put their hands in their pocket and support him anymore. So I do think he's out of his depth. I think he's a lovely guy. I think we'd all like maybe not us, but people would like it to work out for him. I just feel like giving someone the job of managing one of the richest clubs in the world with one of the greatest successes behind them to kind of find his way after a Norwegian managerial job is a task too far for him.
Exactly. It feels a bit like a crumbling relationship. It was all so beautiful at first. I love you, you love me. We're all so happy. And then by the end of it, you can't even look each other in the face without a bit of disgust and feeling like...
Are you writing a song, Ollie?
I don't like you anymore. Okay. No, that's just the way I felt about it. It's just the emotions that...
It's what it says about United and always says about Ollie when they're not playing particularly well. He always says this on Gutter Talk. It's like we just send a team out and Ollie just picks an 11. He doesn't necessarily pick a strategy. He just picks players, but he doesn't actually pick like a game plan.
Yeah,
it's like the players just get sent out there and say go and win the game, and there's no greater strategy.
No, that's true.
I think they are missing Maguire at the moment. I think when you watch them, it was so noticeable with Liverpool last season. You would not realise how much impact having that leader there, even at a centre back position, does for the rest of the play. And when you watch United with Lindelof, they particularly when they had Dalot at the back the other day, just absolutely atrocious at the back. And so I think that if they can get him and keep him and Varane in the team, they may do a bit better. But I agree. They literally say, Bruno, go out on the pitch, work some magic, mate. Do it. You got Ronaldo there, you can use him. But bar that, there doesn't seem a plan.
There we go. Okay, so we're having technical difficulties again. But so the next question is, I got told to change this by Jim, but then he said, no, leave it in. So we've left it in. And the question is, how bad really are Norwich? Are they really that bad? Or are they just good? Or they just need a bit of rub of the green? How bad are Norwich? We'll start with you, Mike. Are they really that bad? Or can they turn this around? Can they stay up this season?
I mean, as Jim knows, I've been a very loyal backer of Norwich over the years, taking them almost as like a bit of a second club. The table does not lie, and it's a pretty dreadful start to the season. From what I've seen, I don't even think that there's a lot of fortune going missing because just not a lot seems to be happening for the Canaries at the moment. I do know that they have, in terms of who's missed the least chances, that's Norwich. So they're not even creating the chances as well as not scoring the goals. And
Can I put something to you though, right? So what my little view on this, and I'm going to pass this around, of course, is when you come into the Premier League, obviously Arsenal have never been relegated, so I don't know how it works this way. But do you go the one way, sacrifice your beliefs, set up shot, don't be hard to beat, and try and get the 1-0, be like that, or do you go into it like Norwich, who obviously are trying to play their game and trying to do what they do, and go on a 16-game loss a run in the Premier League?
It's down to the managerial philosophy, and Farke's good. He's been down. He's brought them back up. He has a style to play, and I don't think we've not seen him sacrificing that, and I don't think he would do, because I think that's the way he wants to play football. Fark life, and
Fark life. Eh?
Yeah, and
like
I just I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing James's comments on it, because I was watching the other day and like Cantwell's not starting, and some of the other players that I've maybe not seen for selection. Obviously, no one knows their players better than the managers, but I think some of the players that have been down and come back up that we were expecting to feature haven't quite been fitting in. So whether or not that team's not quite ready in the manager's head yet as to what is the right team to get him competing. Obviously, he's going to switch things around when things aren't going his way. But yeah, I mean, I think what I saw and what I heard of the Burnley game was not good, I think, for either side in terms of the quality of football. Obviously, it was a 6-pointer, and it's not taking anything away from that. And, for Norwich, getting a point on the board, clean sheet, that's a step in the right direction. Obviously, I'd love to have it to been 3 points, because I really want Burnley to go down. But I feel like it's a disastrous start. That I don't know how it's going to be turned around. It's not an easy league, as we know. And I think starting with that small momentum, I mean, what they need to get is some goals, go and get Pookie in the type of form that he had last time round, and try to sustain that. But yeah, I don't see where the goals are going to come from, and that's a big problem.
Okay. It's not one of those relationships where you're meeting in the middle, but it's just not working. Linton, what do you feel? Do you think, how bad are Norwich? Are they good enough to stay up? Are they just not good enough?
Go easy, Lint.
I've never been a backer of Norwich, to be fair.
You were?
I said I've never been a backer of Norwich, to be fair.
You loved this when we went to Burnley away about 15 years ago.
About 15, was it 5-3? As a neutral, went for a 5-3.
Was that in the Premier League or was it in the Championship?
Championship. Nigel Worthington manager.
We were 3-2 down at half time, weren't we?
It was very much not a 5-3 game at the weekend.
Darren Huckabee hat trick. Is it Darren Huckabee got a hat trick that day?
Now there's a guy I can get behind. Huckabee.
Right, so Norwich, Mike had one. I think maybe Ollie raised one of his stats. What is it now? Oh, where is it?
16 games, I think it was.
So it was 15 games. It would have been 16 games. So 16 games without a win. Stats scored 3 in those. Wait a second.
We did win the Championship title. I think it's unfair to call stats over 2 different seasons.
Jim, you'll get your chance. You'll get your chance.
So where was I? Right. So in those games, they've scored 3 and conceded 38.
Wow.
I think that's their last 16 Premier League games. 50. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where to go with Norwich, really. I just feel they're just not. It's like having 19 teams in the Premier League. They're just not really worth it, are they? But saying that, I think that they've been a little bit hard done by. They lost. I don't know why. Well, obviously for the money, but they got rid of Brandia and Skip. We were probably the heart of their midfield, and then
he was alone, wasn't he?
He was, but that's the heart of their midfield, But 20 as a player, I think he's great. But just an average side, and I think that their fans, I don't know how Jim's probably going to chirp in a sec, but they're just, I find it bizarre that they accept this going upwards and down, yo-yoing between the leagues and not really competing in the Premier League. I actually thought, okay, they'll be different this year. Farkas said that, I don't know, he's got like a certain amount of points that he wants to make sure they stay up. But I think they've just, I don't know, Jim.
As opposed to Tottenham, who just stay up and win nothing.
I mean, that team that finished above him for the last 5 years. That one. Right, go on, Jim. We're not talking about.
Here we go, Jimbo. Now's your time. You've heard everyone trash talk Norwich. Now you give your account on this relationship.
I mean, yeah, it's been a pretty torrid start to the season, and it has been disappointing. It has hurt, and that I think that losing streak from the back end of the season during lockdown has been a massive monkey on our back. That's been very difficult to budge. Plus, we had a terrible start to the season where we had Liverpool, City, Leicester, Arsenal first 4 games. But then, the 2 after that weren't good. He did change the system a bit at Burnley. We changed the system at Everton, actually, and we made a good performance against Everton, and we were right in the game, 1-0 down, on top in the second half, and then just a mistake and conceded the second, and the game over. But there's been too many mistakes at the back this season. But against Burnley, we were resolute. We kept a clean sheet, and it's a small start. I mean, I do.
You were happy. You were happy with that on the gutter talk. What's up? You were pretty chipper after that.
I wasn't celebrating a 0-0 at Burnley, but I think
that kind of sounded like you did.
Celebrating the fact that we had stopped the rot.
Who you got next?
And got our first point on the board.
Who you got next?
Next match is home to Brighton, which could be tough, but at least we're at home. We are at home.
It was important not to lose that game to Burnley.
It was, we've done that. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I do think we will go down. At the start of the season, I thought we'd give it a good go and potentially stay up to the point where I was opening myself up to bets with anyone. I would have taken any bets that would stay up because you got to back your team, mate.
You took that bet.
You've got to back your team. It's true. That's true.
You've got to back your team.
Away, Jim.
But
I'm not giving you your money yet. We might stay up.
No. Where are Brentford going right then? I mean, obviously we know
Brentford are doing fantastic, aren't they? But I mean, I'm going to say, in the context of this season, I'm not feeling hugely optimistic, but I want to kind of zoom out a little bit. And I mean, Webber's now been with the club for about 5 years, and it was him that appointed Farker and has completely changed around the fortunes of our club. I mean, if you look at it cumulatively over that 5-year period, we're on a massive upward trajectory. We've won the championship title twice. The first time we came up, we were like 3 years ahead of a plan to get back in the Premiership, and we didn't spend any money.
How did you start in the last Premier League season?
We started incredibly
pretty well, didn't you?
Really well.
So maybe
you beat City as well.
We beat City, we beat Newcastle. Pookie got
maybe
Newcastle.
Maybe this
Pookie had like 10 goals by Christmas.
Yeah, he was flying, wasn't he?
Maybe this could be a good thing. Maybe it could be the opposite side of the
coin. I'm not condemning
us
to going down. I'm not condemning us to go down. I do think we probably will, but I do think we might still give it a go this season. I'm quite happy with the money we've spent. We spent a lot of money. I mean, if we do stay up and all those loan signings that will become permanent deals, if we stay up, if they all kind of come to fruition, I think we'll have spent about £90 million, which is a bloody lot of money.
Wow!
But we've spent that all on young players who are on sustainable wages, and that's what I'm proud of about my club, is that we're building something sustainable. Like, you get these fucking idiots like Jamie O'Hara, but absolute clickbait twats that are saying, and Linton to a certain degree, saying we're not worthy of a position.
Jamie,
how can you say
if you're watching this? I totally agree.
How can you say we're not worthy of a position in the Premier League when we won the title last year? Of course we're worthy of a position in the Premier League. But we're not going to sign players that are on wages that we can't afford, that will cripple our club, and we'll end up being the next Sunderland. I'm so glad we're not doing that, and I'm proud of our club that we're not doing it.
All I can say is bring back Brian Gunn, because he was a legend. But what we're going to move on, because we don't want to run out of time. So I'm going to bring this next subject in from what we were talking about Norwich. These we're talking about teams going down. I actually think you're going to stay up, Jim. I'm going to say it. I think you're going to have a resurgence and you're going to stay up. So Jimbo, who's going down? So if you're going to stay up,
Norwich.
If you're going to stay up, who's going to go down?
I don't think we are going to stay up. I mean, if I have to give you an honest opinion now, I think given the start we've had, I think even if we do hit some form, we're a bit off the pace. Although saying that, the bottom 4 teams are still all without winning a game. So So yeah, we could still stay up, but I think
it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
I think having seen the weekend, despite how reliable Sean Dyche has been over the years, I do think Burnley's time could be up this year.
I hope so.
I
Mike
hope so
too.
Although
So
I
you're
do
going Burnley?
like the fact they are a grassroots club. I like him as a manager. His interviews are amazing.
I hate him.
I like Sean Dyche, but I think their time could be up this year.
So we're going Burnley. What, are they going to come third from bottom, or are you going to go? It's toughy. It's toughy.
I don't know. Second bottom, I think Burnley.
Second bottom, and Norwich are going to come third bottom. Give them
I think we'll be in the bottom three probably. I'm not picking places in the bottom three.
What we saying?
I think the third team to go down.
Watford, maybe.
This is the tough one.
I think probably Watford or Newcastle, but I think
Newcastle.
probably Watford. I'm not sure the Tinkerman's gonna have his glory, like get back his glory years. I'm not sure that appointment's going to work. I thought it was a bit of a strange appointment, especially after Watford. I mean, I know Watford love to change their manager regularly. They've got some ridiculous statistic about the number of managers they've had over the last few seasons. But yeah, I think Watford will go down. So Watford, okay. Burnley, Norwich.
All right, then, Linton. What are you thinking?
Obviously Norwich. And then I was having it's a difficult one on the third one, but I think Norwich. I think Newcastle are going to go down.
I don't think Newcastle will go down. I think
they will. You were saying about Burnley. Burnley always seem to string a good. Sean Dyche is a great manager. They always seem to go have a 10-15 game run where they pick up points. They do it every year, and I just think they've got a good squad. I think Southampton as well to go down.
Ooh, Southampton.
Without Danny Ings, haven't got the goals. I don't know. They're a couple of injuries away from an absolute nightmare. I don't think their squad's that particularly that good. I think Danny Ings kept them up last year. They're my three to go down. But I just think with Newcastle, I think with Steve Bruce, their fans hate him, and I think there are a few more bad results. Things could turn pretty toxic there. But then again, they're not bad sides. Like above them, I think Palace are a good side. I think Vieira looks like he's got them playing some good football. Watford, when they, I know you're going to probably give me shit, but when Watford came to us, I thought they were a good side. That Sarr is a good player, and
Sarr is very good.
I think they've got goal threat. They've got some very, very good. They're a bloody strong side as well. Blimey. They've got some really big, strong midfielders. I think they're going to be fine. Obviously, I'm just looking at the league as well. And you go up beyond that, and then you're talking Leeds, Leicester, Wolves, and then, potentially you could look at Arsenal, potentially dropping in that bottom three. But but in all seriousness, I don't know. It's very difficult. I can't see. I think it's between Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley, and Southampton. I can't see anybody else, to be honest. I think they're all too good.
No, Michael, what are you thinking?
Yeah, apologies, Jim, but I think Norwich would be in my first pick to be in the bottom three.
Wow,
I'm not sure about Burnley. I think I know what you're saying, but their team hasn't really changed over the years, and I think that it's becoming an aging team who's losing a bit of that edge they had, and they're not bringing in anything. I mean, Aaron Lennon still gets a game for them, for crying out loud. And
don't mock little ladder. Do not mock little ladder.
I know they've got that fight until they've been here before, but I feel like their time's running out. He does, and I hate them with a passion. So
why do you hate them? What's your hatred for Burnley? I don't really get that.
I think it's just. We've always had a bit of beef with them, and I think it's just
it's always major beef.
Their players, like Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood. I can't stand them the way they are.
I like Ashley Barnes. Player.
It doesn't surprise you until I can imagine you getting on with him. I just think he's a horrible person.
I don't know the guy. I think he's good. I think Chris Wood.
Chris Wood is not friends with the guy.
Underrated. I like Chris Wood. I'd have liked him as a backup for Harry, but anyway, continue.
Yeah, that's about your level, though, isn't it?
Someone who's not going to play much, but
some would say Chris Wood is outperforming.
I like him.
Harry Kane at the moment.
I think the third team the third team is really hard to call. I agree with everyone's kind of points. I think it's too hard to call who that third team is going to be. I mean, I actually think Southampton have played quite well in some of the games I've seen them in. I think they've actually put some good performances. For me, it's between Newcastle and Watford. I think I would actually go for Watford. I feel like Newcastle have, with St. Maximan, quality player. I think that they've got enough Premier League quality to be able to get them over the edge. I think it's going to be tight, but I would go for Burnley, Norwich, and Watford for my three.
Okay, so I've got some comments here. Hello, James from Cop Talk. Big Liverpool fan, and it's part of FTB, so it's lovely to see you, James. Thanks for watching. James is going for Watford, Norwich, and Newcastle. Sorry, Jim, they're all against you, bro. They're all against you. And James also says possibly Burnley tactics are going to fail this season. Well, they have the same tactics.
It's mad. I always think that. I think it is, isn't it? And everyone's like, yeah, they're going down. And then they'll just suddenly pick up, surprise you with like a ridiculous couple of results. Like, was it last season? They beat Liverpool away and they went and they put some mad results last year. I don't know.
Yeah. There we go. So obviously we've had a question about Norwich. We have to have a question about Spurs because there's still lingering kind of questions within your manager mainly. So we'll come to you first, Linton. So is Nuno the answer? Is he the answer? Is he going to bring you back to the glory days of, was it 1960? I can't even remember. It was so long ago.
1961.
61.
You horrible bastard. He didn't prep
60
me.
years and counting.
The question is
Nuno the answer?
Is he the answer? I'm not saying he's not. I want your
is.
opinion on it.
What is the question? I knew he was going to say that.
If you had have asked me this time last week, I'd have probably told him where to go.
But it's okay now because he's spoken and you're unstoppable now. We've heard this. Spurs are unstoppable.
He said Son's unstoppable. Anyway.
He said this team is unstoppable.
Yeah, well, obviously they are stoppable. Anyway, I'm less confident than I was a couple of weeks ago. But again, jury's out. It's still early days. But after the Arsenal game, it was just a fucking horror show. And at this very moment in time, it needs to give me a lot of convincing to say that he's the manager. And it was also true this week. There was an Athletic story talking about how. I think at the end of the season, we can essentially get rid of him without giving him any compensation. If that is in part of his contract, I think that fucking our board didn't have much confidence in him at the start of the season. So stop.
Did the article say who you were going to get?
No, I think a lot of it's going to be, it's a stopgap waiting for Poch. That's what I would love, but whether that will happen.
Poch back. That's what you want.
I would love Poch back. I don't care what anybody says.
After the way you parted ways, I mean, we all saw it on the TV. It was a little bit. It was like a whiteboard with a bit of pen on there. See you later, bruv.
It was a bit horrific, but Tottenham's his own. We love him, and I think every Spurs fan would have Poch back at the drop of a hat. So
Really, but you can't even win any games with bloody Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Like, what's he going to do with Chris Wood, Kane, and Danny Ings? You know what I mean?
He's
part players.
The top of the league in PSG with PSG, aren't they?
Yeah, I know, but that's not a league. That's not
Linton. I mean, the fact that he didn't win the league last year was like unbelievable. How anyone as a PSG manager is not winning the league is Emery won the league with PSG.
That's what I was going to say. Even Emery won the league.
No, I'm not going to have this as a. Let's go back to the question about is Nuno
anyway.
the answer.
Can I ask you a question?
Let's go back to your stopgap manager.
Hang on a minute,
Linton. As a Tottenham fan, can you try and explain to me what Nuno was talking about in his post-match interview after Arsenal?
To be fair, I didn't watch any of it because I just literally shut off from football. I haven't watched it.
But you must have seen the comments about him saying about the players, maybe they weren't right for the game.
Oh, well, yeah. He said he admitted himself that he got it wrong, and it was just. I mean, what's he going to fucking say? I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on.
Okay. Is Nuno the answer, Michael?
at the moment, I love him. He's a great manager. Keep him in.
All right, hang on a minute. Hang on. We're going on like we're above you, and we've just started the league. We've gone above you this week. Arteta's been there for 2 years, and you're still a fucking mess. He's been there fucking 8 games. He needs a bit of time.
He's been there 8 games, but all he's good for is a meme
Linton,
of a
thank
homeless
you for letting
person
me
sitting on a
say my
bench.
piece.
Sorry,
So,
go
what do
on,
I think is the answer? I mean, and this is a true thing. I don't quite know where Spurs see themselves at as a club and where they want to go. You know, they were kind of up there, you know, in the Champions League places, and that was obviously very much a highlight of many modern Spurs fans' recent memory. And I suppose, you know, when they have the fans about wanting to sign players like Chris Wood, it kind of brings the question as to where like the club see themselves going.
Well,
I mean,
you can give me shit you want. Chris Wood, I don't know. Chris Wood as a backup for Harry Kane, come on, last 5 minutes and cause a bit of havoc. Good in the air. That's what I was talking about. Because we're not. Look, I'm just saying,
there's something going on. What I mean, in all seriousness, is like, you know, obviously we know about the failure to get many of the other managers for whatever reason. We've heard some of its differences in football style.
Ninth choice.
Yeah, we've heard it could be budgetary issues. Like, we don't quite know where they are at as a club and how much potential, I suppose, financial hardship they've got in the coming years. And maybe Nuno is the right man, because if they need to, you know, work off of, you know, restricted resources and try and sort of make a place a bit above their weight, you know, so that would be sort of trying to get into those top 4 places. Maybe is the right man for that, because he showed with Wolves that he can put them maybe above where they need to be. He's not the player. He's not the manager, I don't think, to take them towards titles. So for me, I feel like they maybe don't see that Tottenham is at that particular point in their journey as a club. So therefore, maybe is a kind of a stopgap whilst they're waiting for finances to sort themselves out a bit and get a bit more money in, you know, so they can start to invest in the club properly. So for me, yeah, maybe he's what they need for right now, and that is to kind of keep them their head above water and try and get them, you know, a bit of joy, you know, in a cup, or maybe get them into a Champions League place. But no way, I don't think, has he taken them to the next level.
No way. Jem says Spurs needs to be patient and let Nuno feel his way a bit. What do you think, Jimbo? Do you think Nuno is the answer? Does he need to have time? Is he going to come good? Because from what I've seen of him, I'm like Michael. I'm happy he's Spurs manager, because I think he is the Chris Wood of management, in my opinion. Go on, Jimbo.
Can I just say I enjoyed Mike's very, very subtle fishing there, Mike. That was nice.
Pure gutter.
Pure gutter, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think Ollie touched upon it there. That I think the whole management recruitment process since Poch getting the sack has just been a mess. I mean, to sack, I know we're going back a bit here, but to sack Poch not long after he got you to a Champions League final and then appoint Mourinho off the back of a really deconstructive tenure at United, where he fell out with a lot of players, fell out with the board, and then to think, oh yeah, we'll have a bit of that and appoint him. It was just very strange. And then once Mourinho gets the sack, which obviously sacking Mourinho leaves you with a massive bill to pay, you then go after not 8 or 9 different managers, and it felt like the appointment of Nuno was just like the one that said yes. And it's like it didn't really feel like there was much strategy behind it, and it seemed like a strange appointment as well, to keep Kane and to keep Son off the back of signing quite a defensive manager. And I think, yeah, for me, I don't think Nuno is the answer for you guys. I agree with what Jem's just said. You probably need to give him time, because he has been appointed now. So what can you do? You've got to give him a chance. But I don't think he kind of is going to be playing the Tottenham way, or what the fans are going to want to see, which is attacking football that plays to their strengths, which is obviously Kane and Son. So for me, no, I'll be surprised if Nuno makes a good go of this. I hope he does, because I quite like him as a guy. It's quite entertaining in his interviews, a bit like Ranieri. You're never quite sure what he's going on about. His interviews are quite entertaining, and I hope he does make a go of it, but I'm not convinced.
I think the killer statement, to jump in.
That's all right, Michael. You go.
It's what our dear friend Tim said on the previous show, where he said that Nuno's had more success than Arteta. And we questioned him on what's his success. And he looked down at a bit of paper and said he came fourth with Valencia, which kind of says it all, I think, and let's not forget that Valencia have been league winners in recent memory. So, yes, I feel like it's a big step up for him.
It feels to me like being in a nightclub in Preston.
Still above Arsenal.
Like being in a nightclub in Preston, and you're like, one bird, she's not having it. No, move on to the next one. She's not as good. No, she's not having it. Move on to the next one. And by the time you get to the ninth one, you're generally in there. So this is a good little comment.
You've also had 5 more points.
The recruitment. By the time you get to the ninth one, you've always dropped your standards as well.
Yeah.
By the time you got to the ninth one, you don't even know what she looks like. Okay, good little point here from Gems. Harry Kane just needs to fucking suck it up and be a professional and stop sulking and play ball. Like that one. So Alonke says Firmino came from Germany. Yeah, we were talking about Germany earlier.
Hoffenheim, was it?
Yeah. He's had to take a huge saga on Harry, etc., and not had a proper transfer window. There you go. James is really sticking up for the Nuno train. I like that.
He has like I said the other week, I think he did have quite a tough start in terms of what was going on behind the scenes with Harry. But
and this is great content, lads. Thank you, Pyro's Destiny. I appreciate that. So, on to the next one.
If it's one more bloody Spurs question, I'll go mad. Right, okay.
It's not Spurs. We're on to Graham Potter. Right. I was on a podcast yesterday and people were talking about maybe Potter should take over at Man United. Maybe he should be the next England manager. And I'm like, hang on a sec. Graham Potter. Like, last season, he was terrible. He was dreadful. But all of a sudden, he's the Messiah. He's the saviour of British football because Brighton have won a few games. So we'll start with you, Jimbo. How good is Graham Potter?
Start with someone else, Bob, because my wife's printing something under printer, so you won't be able to hear me.
Oh, no.
No, we can hear you. Don't worry about it. Okay, we'll start with you, Michael.
Okay.
Oh, Lyndon's going first. I like that.
Okay. So I like Graham Potter. I think he's brilliant. Right. So because they had Chris Hughton, didn't they, beforehand? And I think that a lot of the Brighton fans are saying that football got a bit stale. You got your printing, Jim? All right.
Who prints stuff anymore?
Okay, so they were saying the football was a bit stale. They weren't doing too much, and I think they just scraped relegation. The football wasn't particularly good. And then, what was it? Tony Bloom and Dan Ashworth. They wanted somebody to come in and play some attractive football and make better use of their youth and scouting program and things like that. So since Potter's come in, they've blooded the likes of Sanchez, Lamptey, Alzati, and improved players like Adam Webster as well, Yves Bissouma, Dan Burn, and then transfer-wise, brought in a bit of experience with Lallana, Welbeck, and then Veltman. And then they've also this year brought in that Moda from the Polish guy, Cucurella.
He's
star man.
And then
star.
I've watched a lot of Brighton this year, and tactically, they've gone with 3-4-3 over the past couple of seasons, and Potter's shown that he's not afraid to mix it up as well, and he's switching to 4-3-3 and even 4-4-2 in games at half time. And I think, I don't know, I just think that if Potter was a foreign manager to come in and had someone playing like Brighton are, and so they played again last week against Arsenal. They played some amazing football, and I think that they were brilliant, mate. I think
they were good, but they
should have won. They should have won.
They didn't carve out any real clear-cut chances.
I don't know what game you were watching, and also actually, so I'm going to reference Gutter Talk in our WhatsApp group after the game. We got battered, should have lost. So Anyway, my point is, I think Graham
I
Potter's,
didn't say we should have lost. I just didn't
Graham
think we were going
Potter's
to win.
a great manager, and I think he's very underrated because he's at Brighton.
Is he better than Nuno? Is he better than Nuno?
Would I throw him over Nuno? Jury's
Yeah,
out.
you're going to say yes. You're going to say yes, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Graham Potter, so potentially.
Was he on the list? Was he?
I think
Was he on? Was he in the
He
eight?
said no. He said no.
But I don't know. I think Potter's got big things coming for him. I think that he could be a potential England manager one day. I've rate him that highly. So
Wow.
there you go. That's
Potential
what
England manager. There we go.
He's got Brighton playing great football. And it's stemmed from last season. They've improved and kicked on again this year. And, if they can continue scoring some goals, I can also saying Brighton start well. Brighton were playing brilliantly last year. They played some great football. But
Well, like that Jem says, oh, for fuck's sake, Brighton start well. Now Potter is a footy god. That's why I asked the question, Jems, because I do think people are getting on the Potter train, almost doing some pottery classes right now. Anthony said, if I was honest, I wouldn't want him at Arsenal. I agree, Anthony.
Trusting that process, aren't you?
Hey, Ollie, Graham is still rocking the fisherman look. He is, which is the thing I like about Potter the most, is his new fisherman's look and fisherman's beard. Great ginger fisherman, looks great. Greatest catch. Michael, is he the next Pep Guardiola, or is he just on a bit of a hot streak?
I mean, that's a big statement saying he's an ex-Guardiola, but he does seem to know his football, and he has made some very good additions to that Brighton team. I mean, in the game against us, they worked us out. They just gave us absolutely no time in midfield. All of our little one-touch passes, we're not finding the man. We were just not able to play through them at all, and they put off the threat. The couple of times we managed to get in behind them, we kind of had what I think were probably the two better chances of the game. But considering he had no Basuma, considering he had no Lamptey, and he lost a couple of players on Monday night versus Palace, he did very well with a kind of a weakened squad to go out there and put in the better performance of the two teams. And that's been a consistent thing he's done, all season. And as Linton said, they played good football last season. I don't really, put all the faith in XG, but Brighton, when they were doing, if you remember the graphs of the XG, they were like second or third in the table. If they'd have had, a Harry Kane for them last season, albeit that's a big if, the amount of chances that they were missing was absolutely crazy. They were dominating games, creating chance after chance, but just not having the man to finish them, Dear old Neil Maupay, as much as I love him,
don't you? Okay.
Oh God, I hate that man.
I love the fact he hates you lot so much. It's beautiful.
All right, we've got to move on.
Mike, tell the story.
I think, I'm not going to tell the story, but I think he is very good, and I think it's good to have some kind of, some young managers coming up doing their thing, from the unknown. So I think he has a bright future. Whether that's England manager, that's a big shout.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, go on.
No, so I didn't realise I hadn't heard from Jimbo. Sorry.
Yeah, Jimbo, what's your? We're running out of time, so we've got to be quick. Jimbo.
Yeah, no, I like him. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be the font of all knowledge on Graham Potter, but I think what I've seen of him, they were great against Arsenal last week and should have won that game comfortably, in my opinion.
I wouldn't agree with that.
And I think that's what happens when you do give a manager a bit of time. I think at other clubs he probably wouldn't have got that time, but I like the fact Brighton have given him time. And I hope they can keep hold of him, because I mean he is being linked to some bigger clubs at the moment. I hope they can keep hold of him. I think they probably will keep hold of him. I mean, who says they can't be that next kind of like that next Leicester to challenge the top four, challenge the top six? I mean, I think it's probably quite highly unlikely, but I mean, before Leicester happened, everyone would have thought that was impossible for someone to kind of break into that top four, and they went and bloody won the league. So you never know. I really hope that they can keep hold of him and just keep growing, because it would be a great story. I think they've got a great mixture of young homegrown players and foreign talent that they bought quite cheap. Well, not necessarily cheap, but they picked up some good bargains abroad, which is obviously what Norwich have been trying to do. And yeah, I think it's a good model. I think it shows there's hope for smaller clubs like Norwich, that you could eventually one day become comfortable in that top half of the table potentially.
Would you take Potter over Farker?
I wouldn't want us to. I couldn't sack Farker at the moment, so I'd have to say no. I feel too loyal to him. The way he's changed our fortunes of our club. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of Norwich fans would.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'll tell you what, he will be appearing on the next season of Deadliest Catch. That is Graham Potter. Maybe he'll catch a big fish. We will wait and see. Okay, last question. It's got to be a quick fire one. We've got 5 minutes. All right. So obviously it was Liverpool versus Man City. After that game, what are we thinking to do with predictions of the title? We've got to be quick on this one. So let's 30 seconds each. Michael, predictions for the title after Liverpool Man City.
Well,
You can
as
have
each
more than
weekend
30
goes,
seconds.
as each weekend goes, I change my mind, to be honest. Like, I must admit, before the City game, I thought Chelsea just looks, before they played them the other week, I just thought with Lukaku up front, they just look so strong, such a good squad, and a perfectly rounded squad, with people who are able to come into positions and, as deputies and do a great job. After seeing how good City and Liverpool were on Sunday, so I think it's just impossible. I think for me, City, as good as they are still missing goals.
You got to pick one, though, Michael. You got to pick one.
Chelsea.
You're going with Chelsea.
I'm going with Chelsea
because of Lukaku.
Chelsea holding hands again.
I hate Chelsea, but I just think they're the better team.
Okay, Michael's going Chelsea. Linton, you got a minute.
Okay.
What you got?
Okay, I'll be very quick. I just wanted to say thank you for the notes about Brighton from my boss Adam. Anyways, and then on to
thank you, Adam. Appreciate that.
And then on to it's hard to pick. It's only the four, isn't it? City, Liverpool, Chelsea, or Spurs. So I don't know.
Spurs.
I was joking. No, it's just any of those four, isn't it? You can literally each week, like Mike says, you can change your mind. United could go on. A lot of people.
You got to pick one. You got to pick one.
I would go City.
Going City's playing it safe at this point of the season. We'll ask this question on further shows. Do not worry, there's plenty of shows to come. Jimbo, what are you thinking, brother?
City.
Norwich.
City. I just think they've got too much strength and depth. I know they haven't got this striker, and I think they haven't got the out and out striker, but I think they could really do with. And for me, they should have really persevered on that Kane transfer and put all their efforts and money into getting Kane ahead of Grealish. Like, they've got so many players that play that type of Grealish role and play it well. I think they would have really benefited from getting Kane, but I'm glad they didn't get Kane, because I do think if they had have got Kane, they would have just walked the title this season. So I'm kind of glad for the neutral that.
Good. Thank you, Jim.
But yeah, I think City, even despite the lack of striker, will win the league. I kind of hope they don't, but I think they will.
Okay, so just a few last comments. I'm with Jem here. Sadio Mane has scored more goals than Lukaku, which he has. I think Liverpool are going to win it. I think they're the ones to beat. People might agree with me. Anthony thinks Chelsea will win it. So you're starting with you there, Mike.
That's it. No one, it could just change in a couple of weeks again. There could be a result for everyone's, like injuries. But then that's it with City, is that they have that depth. If they lose a couple of players, look at some of the players they've got to come in. It's crazy. It's like, how Liverpool lost Van Dijk last year and what a difference that made. I think if they lose a few, it could be bad for them. But I think, City for me.
Like James says, Grealish and Kane, not what they needed. They needed a younger striker. Who knows? Kane might still go in January. Tottenham might need the money. So that's pretty much drawing us to the end of the show.
Maybe they'll go for Chris Woods.
I mean, if they get Chris Woods, then it's
still
signed and delivered.
Who's your second striker? Lacazette, right?
Anthony's Liverpool to win the Champions League. Well, look, on the next show, we'll talk about the Champions League. Unfortunately, none of our teams are in the Champions League, which probably says something about 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I want to thank everyone for coming on the show today. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but we got through them. I found a mouse, plugged it in, got through it. Just a word on relationships. Sometimes they're hard. You've got to work through them. It's just not like Married at First Sight. When you meet someone, you don't know who they are. You've got to work through that. And that's a bit like football. And that's a bit like what we've been talking about today. Norwich, they might be at rock bottom right now. Doesn't mean they can't come back up with a bit of counselling and a bit of good coaching. Spurs, well, they've got an ugly manager. But, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And Arsenal, well, we're on a resurgence. We've had couples counselling and we're coming through it and we're coming back up.
Yeah,
So,
still below Spurs.
But I want to thank you, Jim. Thank you, Mike, and thank you for coming on. It's been good fun.
Cheers,
thank you, FTB Sports, for having us. Luckily, there's no technical difficulties now, so I'm going to end the show with what I should have started it with, which is the intro. But we do things differently on 6 of 1. Thank you very much. Namaste. Good night, and see you on episode 3, Championship Edition. Love it.